And Washington has once again aimed harsh criticism at the Syrian regime, warning of new international measures unless it withdraws security forces from the streets. And to talk more on this, I'm now joined live by political cartoonist Ted Rall from New York. Ted, welcome to the show. So the US is threatening new international moves against the Syrian government, citing, quote, credible reports that the Assad regime continues to indiscriminately kill scores of civilians and army deserters. So what action do you expect to follow?
Well, I think we're going to be looking at the usual trajectory of sanctions, of ramping up the sanctions, trying to deny diplomatic recognition and cutting off all economic activity between Syria and U.S. allies in the region. These things almost have a logical ramping up that you see in one crisis after the other. It's almost like it's a self-generating path to a future war, and it becomes even more pronounced at a time when the United States is ramping down its involvement in Iraq.
What's driving the West's insistence on regime change in Syria from your point of view?
Well, the U.S. has had an uncomfortable relationship with Assad. In particular, the U.S.'s interest there is in terms of Syria's relationship with Syria and Syria's role in Lebanon. And so I think that this is an opportunity for the United States to get rid of sort of a regional mini power that they find irritating, and as a way to do a favor for its chief ally in the region, Israel. Human rights is something that the United States only cites when it's convenient for them. You know, when their allies are guilty of human rights abuses in places like in Central Asia, there's a completely different narrative there, and you're just not looking at the same kind of sanctions and other activities.
The Arab League has been accused of failing to take any efficient action to help resolve conflict in Syria. The group's observers are expected to arrive in Damascus on Thursday. What could their mission change, if anything at all?
I don't think it's going to make much difference, not so far as the United States and its policies. And, if there's going to be regime change against Syria, it's not going to, the Arab League action is going to be neither here nor there. However, if the United States were to ramp up towards a military action in the coming year, they would certainly cite the Arab League's statements as a way to justify it. We saw that in the run-up to the war against Saddam Hussein in Iraq, when regional powers were cited as reason that we should go in.
Interesting. An investigation by a U.S. research firm concluded that much of the Syrian opposition's claims about the seriousness of the country's crisis are untrue, saying it's an attempt to win outside support from international players like the U.S. How much do we really know about what's actually going in Syria?
Well, that's the tough part. I myself would like to get into Syria, and like most journalists, particularly from the West, it's just impossible to get a visa at this time. So, in that sense, I don't think that the regime of Assad is really doing themselves any favors. They can't really win one way or the other. If they allow Western news media in, whatever coverage will likely be spun against them. But on the other hand, if they don't let them in, people just assume the worst. And I think between the two, probably transparency would be the way to go.
All right, Ted Rall, political cartoonist, thank you very much indeed for sharing your views with us. Thanks.
Thank you.